think he had to feel a little 5-hour energy in him there. Good job for Hollywood. You can see that Stephen Wallace is now up to 6th position. 2 penalties. We mentioned the one on the 99. They had a rolling tire outside the box for Trevor Bayne. And the 40 also had equipment. Jeff Green, as they are going to go to the rear. 7 cars are now out of this race. We can update you. Morgan Shepherd, Kevin LePage added to the list. How about an update on Carl Edwards? He has fought his way back. There's his cycle all the way back as far as 31st on lap 26. And right now we find him in the 14th position. Let's reset it for you. It'll be Joey Logano up front. And then it's Brad Coleman, Reed Sorensen, Justin Allgaier 4th, Mike Bliss, Stephen Wallace, then Brad Keselowski 7th, Josh Wise 8th, Paul Menard 9th, and Michael Annett rounds out your top 10. Pace car has pulled down, flag in hand at the start-finish line, and we're just waiting to go back to green flag racing here at Kentucky. And a good jump for Joey. Reed Sorensen, who was the leader before the round of pit stops, came out in 3rd. Looks like he's trying to take over the 2nd position away from Coleman, but Coleman's having none of it.
Yeah, Coleman's not going to give it all. He's getting better and better to this racetrack. Now take a look at Coleman on the outside of that racetrack. Right behind him is Reed Sorensen. He's got a good run too, but Justin Allgaier has been strong throughout the night.
Whoa. Down on the apron for Justin Allgaier. And he gets around, and all of a sudden, as we go to the right side of your screen, keep an eye on the 21. We had reports of smoke out of the 21 for Scott Riggs.
Yeah, you see the left front fender is caved in. On that restart, you can see it right at the start-finish line. He had to jump out of line like somebody didn't go in front of him, and he got a little damage from it.
And we'll keep an eye on that, see if it's front. Let's watch the restart on the right side.
This is actually after that. He pulled out a line at the start-finish line, made it 3 wide. See right there, he pays the price for it.
He did pull back. He got a warning. He will not be further penalized because he immediately gave the position back.
And that's the key thing. He pulled out a line, and NASCAR would have penalized him had he not given it back.
Here comes Brad Keselowski. He has gotten around Stephen Wallace now. Moved Brad up to 6th, Stephen back to 7th.
There's Michael Annett in that 15. He's having a good run tonight.
He sure is, as he is fighting hard. A 31.8-second lap last time around. That's right with Stephen Wallace and the guys right in front of him. Annett got his first top 10 in the Nationwide Series in this race last season when he finished 7th.
Okay, I always like watching these restarts. These guys got real low air pressure in these cars. Some of them are sliding all over the place until the air pressure comes up, and some of them can really get going fast. And those guys there, those are the ones I'm looking at in these short runs, especially if we get a green-white checker, stuff like that. Who can get going and who can't?
There's your race leader, Joey Logano, and the long line following him. Carl Edwards, we can tell you, has poked his nose into the top 10. Here it's a great battle. You got Michael Annett with Menard, and there is Carl. That is for 8th, 9th, and 10th, with Josh Wise just hanging on the doorstep there in 11th.
Yeah, almost a disastrous start for Carl Edwards. Had that right rear tire going down and went way, way back, but he's moved his way back up, like I said, up into the top 10 and looking for more.
Guys, watching Carl's lap times, it looks like they're pretty respectable. I mean, he's not way off right now. And one thing I'm noticing, Andy, that the lights are on at this racetrack all around it now. You got to believe the track's cooling down a little bit, but man, it was hot today. Humid, sticky, nasty, everything. And I hope the track cools down a little bit. If it does, these cars are definitely going to start handling better.
Yeah, and the speeds are going to come up. You see sparks flying out of some of them. You might see more of that as the speeds pick up. And you also may see some cars that maybe weren't so good when the track was hot and slick get better as the night goes on.
Right now, that front pack of cars, the top 5, sort of pulled away a little bit from the group behind them. Here, that battle continues with Michael Annett and Paul Menard. And here comes Carl again trying to tuck up underneath. But as they head down the backstretch, Annett and Menard sort of sort things out, pull away. And boy, going into 3, Carl really falls back.
Yeah, the car looks a little bit uneasy going at the corner. Looks like he doesn't have the confidence he needs. Generally, a car that's too loose will cause you to do that. Get out of the throttle early.
But he really gets up off the corner well. He's backing off early, getting off the corner. The 60 car looks pretty good, Dave.
And
Andy, to Rusty's point, he is a little bit uneasy about that car. After the last round of pit stops, it was so twitchy in the rear end. He called it shaking. He did ask, as he makes this pass now on both Annette and Menard, he asked if the cars, if the lug nuts were all tight. Drew Blickensderfer, his crew chief, checked with all the guys. They all said yes, and that it would be okay. After this last run, the car was just a little bit loose still. They made an air pressure and track bar adjustment, but it's been an adventure for Carl, now solidly in the top 10. Doc?
And give a call to Michael Annette in the 15 car, now getting a challenge from the 7 car on the bottom of the racetrack. Annette started 26th tonight. He did not take any tires on the competition yellow to get himself up in the top 10. They made a 4-tire change there just a moment ago, and he has been hanging 8th, 9th, and 10th position, hoping to be able to get another top 10 finish like he did here 1 year ago.
Thank you, Doc. And great racing going on between those guys. Sort of has calmed down for the moment. There's the 62 of Brendan Gaughan. He is right behind Josh Wise in 12th position. A little further back is Coleman Presley, is now in the 13th spot. And there you see Coleman, and then the rest of the group coming around as well. Haven't missed anything up front. In fact, let's check in a little bit farther forward because Mike Bliss has got a mirror full, the 22. Here comes Brad Keselowski. He has been slow and methodical about coming to the front.
I think one of the reasons, just like Rusty said, some of the cars are running on low air pressure, some lower than others, and I think it takes him just a little bit longer to get going. What's he saying down there, Vince?
That's exactly right, Andy. In fact, Keselowski said it feels like the first couple of laps that he's got a bunch of flat tires. He said, but it gets better every single lap. And once it gets going, he really likes his race car. As mentioned, they made no changes on that last pit stop. And if he can just get through those first couple of laps at the beginning of this run, Brad K is really happy with his car.
So the longer the run, the better for Brad Keselowski. On the left side of your screen, Carl Edwards is enjoying some newfound life as he has got door-to-door action going with Stephen Wallace, and that is for 7th on the racetrack. Give the position to Carl. He too coming forward.
That looks like Carl's made some good decisions on his tire pressure and what they need out of that number 64 to get it to the front, because I'm watching his lap speeds and they're pretty doggone good right now. He's probably right where he wants the car, real close to it.
Check in on the battle for 2nd position. Brad Coleman has it. Justin Allgaier would like to take it away. Allgaier takes the low line, but doesn't have a good enough run. You see every now and then a little glimpse there in the foreground is the race leader, Joey Logano.
You got to really hand it to Brad Coleman. He doesn't race in this series regularly. Although we know how good this 18 car is, he's still got to get in there and make it happen, and he's doing a great job behind the wheel of this thing tonight. Did a good job last week. It's just got to be hard to do, not racing any more than he does.
Well, I totally agree with you, Andy. Just like Kyle Busch said last week in his interview, he said, you know, Brad did a pretty doggone respectable job, and he did. He didn't tear the car up. It's looking really good tonight. Take a look at the right side of your screen. Brendan Gaughan and Josh Weiss going at it.
That battle right there is for 11th on the racetrack, and you can see that Josh Wise has that position. Meanwhile, as you look further, you can see that we have little packs of 2 about every other grouping. As here comes the 22 of Brad Keselowski looking underneath the 33 of Mike Bliss. So Keselowski moves into 5th position after starting 25th. He is 2.7 seconds behind, but he actually ran his last lap quicker than race leader Joey Logano by a 10th. Before this is done, this is going to be very, very interesting. Joey Logano looking to win 3 in a row here. Brad Keselowski looking to dominate the points championship. Who's going to be the winner? Stay with us to find out. We're not even halfway. Joey Logano is your race leader right now by almost a second over teammate Brad Coleman. Then on back to Justin Allgaier, Reed Sorensen, Brad Keselowski. That rounds out your top 5. But one story we want to update you on. The 7 of Josh Wise. He is in 11th position, but he has had an issue that doesn't happen very often, but can be very painful. Vince, take us through it.
Well, it certainly has been a handful for Josh Wise tonight. The car hasn't been handling just right, but then he had a headrest problem. The headrest in his car came loose, and it was creating a lot of buffeting with his head. Listen to the radio communication.
10-4, just reach up there and massage your neck muscles a little bit. Get them back into where they don't cramp up on you. And I know you're pretty sore. You know, it's hard enough to ride around there, but